Welcome, everyone, to What to Watch Live, the show where we discuss the best in TV and entertainment this week. My name is David, and today I'm joined by my fellow Xfinity editors, Scott, Quam, and Shake and Bake. It's our very own Ricky Bobby Landon. Hello, everyone.
How's it going, David? How you feeling today, David?
Hi, hello.
How's it going?
Great. I'm hyped. I'm really excited for today. We've got a really huge show. As all of you know, here in this room, but not out in Twitter and X1 and Flex world. In just a minute, we'll be joined by live by a very special guest from the world of NASCAR. And later on, we'll explore this year's nominees for the American Music Awards, go inside the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, celebrate Transgender Awareness Month, and help you organize your watch list for the week. But as always, first, let's kick things off within the news. Last Saturday at Phoenix Raceway, NASCAR driver Daniel Henrik stunned the racing world when he not only won the first race of his NASCAR career, but also captured the 2021 NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship in the process. We're so excited to welcome Daniel Henrik to What to Watch Live, but first, let's take a look at Daniel in action.
The 18, closing the gap. Out of 4, they're side by side. Henrik's gonna win it at the line. Daniel Henrik just silenced the doubters. He's made his own history. Daniel Henrik wins. He's the Xfinity Series champion.
You got it.
From the top of the car, Daniel Henrik's a champion.
Unreal, man. Unreal. 2021 NASCAR Xfinity Series champion Daniel Henrik is here with us. How you doing?
Man, I am good. I'm reliving that moment. I was watching it there with you guys. Not sure if my body is, these old bones are more sore from the backflip or the celebrating over the last couple of days, but I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Are you back on Earth yet? I feel like you've been riding this Cloud 9 for a little bit.
It's man, what a whirlwind, right? I mean, my wife and I flew out to Phoenix last Tuesday. We had a little rent house out there we stayed in and enjoyed the week. And then next thing you know, we went through the chaos of what was NASCAR championship weekend. Man, you can only hope and dream to be that guy at the end of that week, but that's why we go out there early, to enjoy the moment, no matter how it turns out. And man, just no, for sure, not back here on planet Earth yet. I feel like I'm still in a dream of some sort, but I can promise you, like I said, the way I feel that the days following this championship brings me back to Earth, because it's a little rough, but something that, we'll never forget. We're enjoying every second of it.
You stuck the backflip, so I think that's really all that matters, right?
That's exactly right.
So let me get this straight. Not only was Saturday your first title, but it was also your first Xfinity Series race win?
Yeah, very, very true. Yeah. So it was, man, it's been such a wild ride for myself. I was fortunate to run the NASCAR Xfinity Series full time in 2017 and 18, and actually ended up getting an incredible opportunity to race at the top of our sport at the Cup level, and kind of felt, if anybody heard any interviews, pretty much my life was unraveling, if you will. After 2019, I lost my Cup deal and been a part of the rebuild process. So it's been incredible to get back here and have another full-time with Joe Gibbs Racing, and then go make the most of it and fight and claw to try to win your first race. And can you imagine, right, winning your first race at the on and at the biggest stage of the year? Yeah, I literally don't think you could have scripted any better. And yeah, that's why I don't seem real. It's just incredible how it all came together.
So let's speed it up here. We got 2 minutes on the clock. I got 20 questions. So you ready to rock? All right, let's do it. So, how many hours have you slept in the last 72 hours?
8.
If you could star in one show right now, what would it be?
Ooh. What's the show? I'm blanking out. Yellowstone.
All right. Favorite sport not named NASCAR?
Ooh, golf.
Everyday car that you drive?
Toyota Sequoia.
Should one race every season be all right turns instead of left?
Absolutely not.
Night race or day race?
Yeesh. I like day to night.
All right. What's the most important food on the Thanksgiving table?
Ooh. Macaroni and cheese. I'm a sucker for it.
Ever race at the famed course Bowman Gray in Winston-Salem?
I have done a backflip there a time or two.
Favorite adult beverage?
Ooh, give me a good bourbon, any kind. New to it, and I love it.
You get to pick one donut, infield burnout or glazed?
Oh, infield, come on.
All right. We know you're loving your AirPods, and my wife just recently lost hers. You can listen to one song while you're racing. What is it?
Ooh, Eye of the Tiger.
Okay. How many vacations will you take this off season?
It depends. I might be stuck here doing all this since this past weekend.
How will Daniel Henrik eventually celebrate this monumental win?
Oh, dude, we've been celebrating since since the checker flag flew. I don't know. Just somebody says they want to hang out and enjoy it, I'll be there.
All right. So we didn't beat the clock at all, Daniel. We lost that terribly. Let's be totally honest.
Did we?
But yeah, I don't think we made it. Hey, that's all right. That's it. Look, I'm not the fast one. You're the fast one. So that's really all that matters. It was me slowing us down.
I feel like you got through a bunch of questions, though. That was a bunch of questions. We got through most
18,
of 20.
David. 18.
Look, under pressure, though, it's really hard. It's really difficult.
Hey, see what I did there, Daniel? Just playing with my cards.
That boy.
Yeah. Daniel, I was curious. I saw you post on Twitter, at least on Twitter, with the cup, and wondered where is it now, and where will it end up in the future?
That's a great question, because in the midst of all the fogginess, I've had that question a lot, and my answer is I have no idea. It was if you saw that picture, you saw my little girl, my 1.5-year-old little girl, and my wife with me. We took that last picture. Like I said, my daughter's in her pajamas. We took that picture at 12:30 a.m. Saturday night, Phoenix time. I remind you, I live in North Carolina, so it's 3:30, and then the time changed. And when I walked away from it, I saw it. They were putting it in some big fancy case, and I haven't seen it since. So I think word on the street is I actually get it at the banquet here in about 30 days. So fingers crossed it makes it there, because I have not seen it since.
Nice. It's funny you mentioned your wife, Kenzie, who is also a racer, and you mentioned your beautiful daughter. And I know oftentimes when a family is growing, people purchase a minivan. And I love the idea of two racers owning a minivan, zipping around down there in North Carolina. Do you own a minivan? Did you ever consider buying one?
So my wife told me she was by no means to that point of her life yet. But I will tell you that my Sequoia is close to a minivan option called the Sienna, which is also known on the street as the Swagger Wagon. So I'm not sure how far out that is.
I think you just dive right in right now and get a minivan. I think you head out of here. Just go get minivan right now.
Love it. Daniel, I've got a question for you. So worst case scenario, had you not landed that backflip, what would your next move have been? Are you like just lay down on the ground and kind of like pretend to be dead kind of guy? Or like would you crawl away, or like maybe do like a flip up?
I would have. Yeah, I think I would have just tucked and rolled it out and got up and enjoyed it and had fun with it, right? I mean, what else are you going to do? You're on national television in front of hundreds of thousands of people. You're not going to hide from it, so
it would have been epic if you you just rolled out and were like parkour, just like been done with it. Like that's
it. And Daniel, so as the music guy, sorry, Scott.
No, go ahead, Guam. No, go ahead, Guam. You go.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal your thunder, bro.
It's all good. It's Daniel, all good.
As the music guy, I need to know, what is your championship song? Like, what was the first song that you listened to? You went back into the locker room or the garage or wherever you go back when you're celebrating. What was your song?
Oh man, not one in particular. Big Tyler Childers fan as of late, and then my wife says, some of my rap music I listen to is not appropriate for our little girl no more, so that hasn't really been on. So I usually get into that more so during my workouts during the middle of the week. So I'm actually going to dive back in and be an adult starting tomorrow, getting back into the routine and back into the training. But that's when I'll probably kind of find my go-to jam again. So yeah, I've been all over the board.
Okay.
Daniel, if we were to climb into, any four of us were to climb into your race car, would we have any idea how to start it?
Oh, it's pretty. Yeah. You can handle it. Now, as far as getting the thing to move, that may be a different. Oh yeah, I got faith in you.
Getting it to move though, that's where the technicalities come in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of, you got to push this, brush your nose twice, blink 3 times, kind of thing.
I know, Daniel. I know you used to race go-karts when you were a kid. And wondered, several of us are big gaming fans. Are you a Mario Kart fan?
So I am not. I will tell you, the last time I played Mario Kart was with my buddy Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney. And heck, this has been a year and a half or 2 years ago on vacation in Hawaii. And I walked down the stairs one morning. They all got these little console things. I had no idea what was happening. And they're all like apparently racing each other. So I got on to one of them and I tried to get my way through it and embarrass myself miserably and thought, I'll stick to the real thing.
That's the coolest way to play Mario Kart with Bubba Wallace. Like, come on. It's just me and Scott playing typically.
I mean,
sorry,
that's almost as cool, right? I mean, like, geez, David. Like, so Daniel, you obviously have a lot of experience like driving souped up cars, but I'm curious, what's the crappiest car you've ever like owned or driven? Like a proper.
Oh, that's a great question. Great question. So my very first car was a 95 Honda Civic. My mother bought it brand new in 95. So when she gave it to me when I turned 16, I thought I was cool, put some speakers and some wheels on it. And when I went truck racing for the first time in 2015, right, that's when you feel like you've gotten your break. And I drove it all the way until I finally purchased my very first new truck. But prior to that, the Honda Civic had no shifter ball. It was a 5-speed. So it was just a stick. It'd tear your hand up. I literally had to turn the key and hold it wherever I was going. So at the time, my race shop was an hour away. So I had to turn the key and just hold it. And I drove that up until, like I said, 2016. So, yeah.
That's pretty crappy. I just had a Saturn, which was essentially made of plastic. But I mean, not something I had to hold the key the entire time. Jeez, that's
yeah. My first car was a '84 Ford Escort that I bought for $100 when I was 15. I left it sit out front of the house so long that it got infested with a hornet's nest that basically destroyed the car, and I never got to drive it.
That is terrible.
It's pretty terrible.
Now I'm hoping the answer comes in your 95 Honda Civic, but what's the fastest speed you've ever hit off the track, Daniel?
Hang on, I need that question one more time.
So what's the fastest speed you've ever hit off the track? So your everyday car, maybe your minivan, maybe your Toyota Sequoia, maybe your 95 Civic, I don't know. What's the fastest speed you ever pulled up on a highway?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, everybody drives the speed limit, right? Isn't that what they do? I think that'd be a better question for my wife. She's scared me to death on the real road.
Oh my gosh. All right, so 64 and a 65.
I think that's pleading the fifth, I believe.
We're good.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I have a question about the race on Saturday, because it was very close, and I watched it a couple times, like even edge of my seat. Couldn't believe how close it was. You traded some paint with Austin Cindric at the end, and I thought his response to what happened was pretty classy. But wondered how pissed you would be if you were in his spot instead.
Yeah, very, very pissed for sure. I thought Austin Cindric, he didn't surprise me with how he handled it, to be honest with you. He was the reigning Xfinity Series champion from 2020, has handled himself with class, especially ever since, receiving that title. So, yeah, I mean, my man is just a stand-up individual, and it was cool to see him. I say cool to see him, right? Nobody wants to be in that situation. Nobody wants to be that guy, but for him to handle it like he did, I mean, that's takes big shoulders to take it like that. So I'm proud of him for that. Him and I talked after the race, and he was just as classy in person as he was on the TV broadcast. And that was hard to swallow, but I promise you, 10 times I'd ran second before being able to win this past weekend. 10 times throughout my time in the series. So I've had to do those interviews and in a bit of that fashion at times. So you like to think if you do the right thing and treat people the right way and handle things the right way, it'll all come back full circle, and his time will come back again. So it was cool to see him handle the way he did.
Anyone else have any questions here for Daniel Quam? You got anything else?
I mean, I know you haven't listened to too much hip hop recently, but Donda or CLB?
Ooh, man, Donda's pretty. I'm down for it.
My man. Okay, I know I like you, Daniel.
That's right.
Well, I have one last one to close out. For those who have never tried NASCAR for whatever reason, why should someone give it a shot next season? And what would you say is the best way to dip your toe into the world of NASCAR if you've never done it?
Yeah, I mean, if we're speaking directly from the fans' perspective, man, it's such an evolving sport. We're currently in the midst of a uprising, if you will, of young, incredibly talented racers, but as well as a mix of old school, old fashioned guys that have been around forever. And it's interesting to see that all come together and how everybody holds each other accountable, even though we've kind of learned under different crafts and timing of the sport. And that's intriguing, I think, from the fans' perspective. And then you throw in our format of how you run through the season, how you accumulate points. I mean, there's so much to it. But the single best way, right, is for fans to just get to a racetrack. It's really a sport that you have to be able to see it, to touch it, feel it, smell it, kind of thing. Get inside the garage area, come meet the drivers, see pit stops live in person. I've never brought anyone to the racetrack that's completely separated away from it. Don't know anything about it, and bring them to the racetrack and them not just be absolutely hooked if they can get that firsthand experience. Man, it's heck, I've been racing since I was 5 years old. It was that experience that brought me into it. Obviously, never thought it'd get me to this particular seat I'm in now. But for sure, just dive in. You will not be disappointed. You're going to love it. And I'd like to think you'll be a lifer as soon as it happens.
Awesome. Well, Daniel, congratulations on becoming the 2021 NASCAR Xfinity Series champion. We very much wish you so much success in the future. And for more NASCAR action and to actually watch highlights of Daniel's big win, just say NASCAR into your voice remote. And next up, please don't stop the music in the segment we call Editor's Extras.
What a
Yesterday, the American Music Awards announced the first crop of performers for this year's ceremony, which airs live on ABC on November 21st. This year's lineup will include K-pop band BTS, pop star Olivia Rodrigo, Puerto Rican rapper Bad Bunny, and rapper Megan Thee Stallion. For more on this year's AMA nominees, we turn to our very own music editor, Quam. What you got for us, Quam?
Thanks, David. just as David has mentioned, the American Music Awards airs on November 21st, and it's going to be a star-studded event. Olivia Rodrigo leads the pack with 7 nominations. The performance so far: Hot Girl Meg, Bad Bunny, and my personal favorite, BTS. And I'm just really excited to see who honestly wins Best Artist. I think that's like the creme de la creme of the awards, because it's really like a relation of like who had the best year in 2021. And I think personally that I think Drake is going to take home that award. But let me open up to y'all. What do y'all think? What are some of your predictions? Big wins, and let's just have a conversation. Scott?
Oh, you want to start off with me? Okay. So I'm probably the worst person to open up with. I don't listen to a lot of like pop music, unfortunately. But what I will say is that the fact that Sophie Tucker continues to get snubbed at these award ceremonies is absolutely disgraceful. All throughout the year, they continue to drop bop after bop after bop. And like at this current moment, they're featured in like 13 commercials. And yet all I see is the same 5 mega pop stars. Like, let's widen the talent pool, people. One person I am excited to see is Dua Lipa. When my friend who works for Logo TV sent me this album, when it first came out, he basically pitched it as, this album is gay rights. Like the song Levitating through the first brick at Stonewall, apparently. I was just like, oh, okay, work. And yes, it is a bop. It's great. But unfortunately, like after hearing the song so many times over, I was just like, okay, I'm ready for something new. And David, that's partly your fault because you also are like, as an honorary gay man, continue to listen to Dua Lipa on repeat. And just...
It's true. It's the anthem of my summer. That entire album was all I played over and over and over again.
But just to quickly weigh in on the Drake versus Olivia Rodrigo fiasco moment, I can't say that I've heard the new Drake album. I assume there's a new album. But I did see Olivia Rodrigo at the VMAs with David. And I mean, she came down from the rafters on a basically a cloud of disco balls. So my vote goes to her for that alone.
Wait, I haven't even set up the Drake versus Olivia Rodrigo drama.
Oh, sorry, that was my fault. I thought Kwam mentioned that at the top. My bad.
No, it's okay. So Kwam, you and I had a very interesting debate recently, and at the end of each year, the Xfinity editors collaborate to rank the 100 best and most influential pieces of entertainment of the year, from TV shows to music to movies to TikToks. And it just so happens that 2 of this year's AMA Artists of the Year nominees, Drake and Olivia Rodrigo, were at the center of a debate over who had the bigger 2021. Scott's given his opinion. Kwam, I'm really curious where you stand on this debate. I'm not curious. I know. I just want you to restate your ridiculous opinion here publicly.
Okay, I don't think it's that ridiculous, and I have the numbers to back me up. Thank you very much, David. It's clearly Drake. I know Olivia Rodrigo had a big year. She just blasted off into stardom, and I don't think we would ever, have guessed that 2021 would, see such a rise of almost a nobody unless you watch, High School Musical, the musical. But Drake, what he was able to accomplish with Certified Lover Boy, it's almost unprecedented. He occupied 9 out of the top 10 spots in the Hot 100. Also occupying the top 5 spots, which hasn't been done since the Beatles, back in whenever that was. And he just, continues to break records, continues to break streaming numbers, and he just continues to show he's the pop star, the mega star of our era. I know Olivia had a great run this year, and I'm rooting for her. I loved her album Sour, especially Good For You. I think we jammed out to that song a lot, but it's clearly Drake.
So I kind of like the idea of Kwam just sitting here with a checklist, and he's like, okay, you see this stat, you see this stat, we've got a streaming stat.
He's like a housewife with a giant billboard of receipts.
I've got my receipts too. because I wouldn't take any of that away from Drake. But what else did Drake do this year? I mean, if you're talking about total pop culture influence and success, Olivia Rodrigo 100% had the bigger year. Sour was her debut album. She had 3 songs debut on the Billboard Hot 100, with a 4th single making charts weeks later, and 2 of them went number 1. She was the first artist in history to debut their first 3 singles on the Hot 100 chart. She broke Spotify's record for the biggest opening week for an album by a female artist. Olivia also performed on SNL. She also performed on the VMAs. She also performed on The Tonight Show. And she inspired multiple TikTok trends and starred in season 2 of High School Musical, the series, whatever that awful title is. And yeah, Drake has done all of that, but he didn't do it this year, which is why Olivia Rodrigo is the hottest act in music right now.
Also, Drake
and she just got her
stickers.
driver's license.
She did. Wait, what'd you say, Scott?
I said Drake doesn't have stickers. Like,
it's true.
Come on. You don't see
Does
people
make it
dressing
tough.
up as Drake for Halloween.
But he has a brand.
It's true.
What
I'm
now?
not taking anything away from Drake. He's fantastic. I just think if we're talking in terms of the biggest artist of the year, it's got to be Olivia Rodrigo. And Landon, I know you're just chomping at the bit to weigh in on this, so hit me with it.
It's Drake. It is
Whoa.
Drake. I'm sorry. I'm a huge Drake
Come
fan.
on.
I have no statistical comparisons. It's just look,
The tiebreaker.
Scorpion was one of my favorite albums of all time. No, it didn't come out in 2021, but I'm a certified lover boy. Truly, that's kind of what I am. I'm a big Drake fan.
Let's get Daniel back in here to break this tie. Come on now.
Right. Daniel, we need you. Well, you can check out all of this year's American Music Award nominees by saying American Music Awards into your voice remote. And speaking of music, a little over a week ago, I was lucky enough to attend the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland. This year's inductees included Tina Turner, Carole King, the Go-Go's, Jay-Z, Foo Fighters, and LL Cool J. You can see some of my photos here on the right or left, depending on what you're looking at. I don't know. We saw Keith Urban and Her performing a tribute to Tina Turner, Drew Barrymore inducting her childhood heroes, the Go-Go's, and showing off some of her own childhood fandom photos, Jay-Z accepting his place in the Rock Hall of Fame, and Sir Paul McCartney performing Get Back with Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters. Some of my other favorite moments of the night were Taylor Swift opening the night with a performance of Carole King's Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, Eminem making a surprise appearance to perform with his favorite rapper, LL Cool J, was a pretty cool thing to see. Christina
Ladies
Aguilera
love.
sang, they do. So does Eminem. And Christina Aguilera singing River Deep Mountain High. Jennifer Hudson made a surprise performance to sing You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. And the Go-Go's entire set from start to finish was excellent. One other really random behind the scenes note that I loved was almost everyone who gave a speech had their speech completely written out on a teleprompter that I could see from where I was sitting, except for Lionel Richie, who just had bullet points. And I thought, so badass. Lionel's like, I'm not going to write all this out. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to put bullet points. And they were ridiculous bullet points like he didn't let, just like things like he was cool. And that's what Lionel would use, is like, he told you what he thought. He was honest, just really vague bullet points. And then he just riffed and he just totally killed it.
I don't have a confidence in the coolness of this person if he had to have a bullet point to remind him that he was cool. Just throwing that out there.
I believe I wish I could remember who it was. I think it was Clarence Avant. Was that his name? Clarence Avant? I'm looking it up now live on the show. Yeah, Clarence Avant, who's an American music producer.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Everyone's having their flex moment on this show today, apparently. We got Daniel coming in with the ring, and then David just casually showing the pictures of this really beautiful event that he went to with all these really cool stars. But don't worry, I'll have my moment later. It's fine.
I mean, you're wearing Gucci. That's your flex moment.
You can't
I'm here
see
in
it,
my
David.
in my Gremlins t-shirt.
Gucci, right? I was just about to say.
So
I feel very
if
attacked.
you can all watch the entire 2021 Hall of Fame induction ceremony Saturday, November 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern on HBO Max. It's well worth checking out. Next, let's find out what else our editors are cooking up for the month of November in a segment we call Collections Corner. November is Transgender Awareness Month, which celebrates and recognizes the transgender and gender nonconforming communities. Here to tell us more about a special collection highlighting entertainment with trans characters and storylines is our very own LGBTQ editor, Scott. Take it away, Scott.
Thank you, David. Yes, so as David mentioned, November is Trans Awareness Month, and in order to honor and celebrate the achievements and resiliency of that community, I've pulled together this absolutely stunning destination that features some top-notch queer media. It has movies and shows featuring trans characters and storylines. If you're looking for a fabulous reality show that will definitely make you happy cry, you can check out HBO Max's We're Here. Or if you just want a good laugh, you can also take a look at Showtime's Work in Progress as another great option. In addition to shows and movies, I've highlighted a bunch of trailblazing actors and musicians, so you can take a look at their projects or listen to their music on your favorite streaming service here. There are also some educational videos from reputable LGBTQ+ resources for folks to either brush up on their knowledge or just answer some of the general questions that they may have not had the confidence or have been too afraid to ask. And of course, there's a call out to Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is observed on November 20th as a day to memorialize those who have been murdered as a result of transphobia. So definitely wanted to make sure we drew attention to the continued violence that is endured by this community. There's a little bit of a sad note towards the bottom of the destination there, but a very, very important one. And that, in a nutshell, is our Trans Awareness collection. Fellow editors, what do we think? Do we love it?
Oh,
I do love it.
I absolutely love
mean,
it. Yeah.
You know, Scott, the very top of your destination
Incredible.
features one of my favorite musicians, Kim Petrus. So, yeah, I love it because Kim was like my personal pandemic obsession, to the point where I bought like 3 different versions of one of her vinyl records because she just kept putting out different versions. And now I have all these versions of the same record.
Amazing. So funny you should mention Kim Petrus. So Transgender Awareness Month is obviously the perfect time to celebrate and recognize all members of the trans community, but it's especially a great time to recognize the pioneers and trailblazers who are helping to pave a way for a more inclusive future for everybody. So I'd like to take a second to sort of like focus in on some trans icons from your individual areas of expertise, obviously. And I believe we have some pictures to take a look at. This is Scott's casual flex, by the way. Let's go. Bring it out. Boom. Here's me at the Vh1 Trailblazer Awards, hanging out with Pose's Dominique Jackson. I've actually hung out with her a couple times now. She is an absolute riot. I mean, just take a look at those heels. Like, no one that is like 6 foot plus has any business wearing a like 6-inch high heel, but she does it, and she does it with grace. And I just love her so very much. Can fly to the next picture here, see who else we got coming up. Oh, this is Gottmik from Drag Race. Gottmik is fantastic. She was actually the very first openly trans drag queen that was on Drag Race. So she was a little bit pioneering there. It's a little bit of an odd one because she's got a lot of recognition for that, but she didn't want to kind of make that be all her brand. So we love her for that. And I think the next photo we have coming up is a David special. Shall we? Boom.
It was me and Josie Tota from Saved by the Bell. I don't know if any of you have seen the new Saved by the Bell on Peacock, but she absolutely steals every single scene. And I did this hangout with her right before the first season premiered. And it was like one of the hardest I've ever laughed. She's so funny. And season 2 is coming up in just a few weeks. So yeah, she was awesome. And just, so I just keep saying so funny. She was just so funny and just improvising and just slayed me.
Slayed.
Mhm.
Love it. Oh, another
This is
David
also
special.
Me and Kim Petrus. Scott and I went to a Kim Petrus show in Atlantic City a few weeks ago. And this is me and Kim. And I'm cheesing so hard in this photo because I just could not be happier to be meeting Kim. And look how loud my shirt is. Like,
Yeah, we had to talk him up to get that shirt on. He was like, he had no idea what to do. It's like his first like properly gay event. You know, he wanted to make sure he was dressed the part. And he's like, is this too much? Whatever.
no, but Kim was surprised I was straight. So that was something.
That's a win in my book, honestly, David.
Yeah,
Next photo, please. Oh, look, it's me and Kim Petrus. Yeah, so glad David invited me to this, because this actually wasn't my idea to go to this concert. It was David's, and then running into her on the casino floor and then just spending some time with her was just truly an iconic moment. And yeah, definitely one for the book. So I think,
can we take a moment real quick? I took a photo of Scott with Kim Petrus. I took multiples, and Scott was like, all of these are garbage, and then decided to take selfies for himself. Then I said, Scott, take a photo of me and Kim. He took a single photo and was like, this is good, and gave it back to me.
it was perfect because I know
garbage.
how to.
It was not perfect, and I had
Look,
to take
David,
selfies.
come on. Let me handle the post, and I will make sure that photo looks A+, like
They all
golden, like it
turned
was in a
out great.
studio. Come on now.
They all turned
Okay,
out
let's
great.
go to the next photo, and then we can push to Landon and Quam. So this is me and MJ Rodriguez again at the Vh1 Trailblazer Awards, another star of Pose, who really is just a trans actress who has come into her own and is properly iconic. So super excited that I got to spend some time with them and get to know them. And yeah, I can't wait to see what else they have coming down the pipeline. So Landon, we didn't get to talk sports so much because I don't have any photos with trans icons from sports because I'm not a huge sports baller guy. But I know you have some trailblazing trans athletes that you'd like to mention here.
I do, yeah. Actually really neat. Tokyo was the first, well, not really neat, but Tokyo was the first Olympic Games in which transgender and non-binary athletes competed. And a Canadian soccer player named Quinn actually took home a gold medal this year. And 3 or 4 more athletes actually took the stage out in Tokyo. It's neat because it's just the biggest stage, and it really brings light to topics like this. And I think it's important, you know, you building a destination like this and us promoting things like this. And as I was just sort of looking around on the Tokyo topic, I found this really neat quote from the former president of the Human Rights Campaign. His name's Alfonso David, and I thought I'd just kind of share it. He said, this is a historic week for transgender and non-binary athletes in the Olympics, showing once again that transgender athletes can and do participate at the highest level of sports without incident. As with all athletes, some succeeded in achieving their goals while others did not. And regardless of whether they medaled or not, the transgender and non-binary athletes who have joined the world stage in this year's Olympics have set an example of what trans and non-binary young people can aspire to, proving once again that the representation matters and young people deserve role models in their walk of life every day. There's nothing that transgender and non-binary young people can't do, and that the message was loud and clear this week. I just thought that was a really well put way to sort of break this down. So yeah, I think it's really neat, and I think it's really important.
100% agree with you. I think representation, especially in media, and is so important. Like people all over the world, and well, at least in our footprint anyway, so within the US, like being able to serve something up like this, a destination where they can kind of find themselves and see themselves reflected in characters, either in movies or in TV or in music, is just like a really awesome thing. And it's very rewarding for me as an editor to be able to do that for people. So hopefully people find it useful, enjoy it, make the most of it.
I had the opportunity to interview All Elite Wrestling star Nyla Rose for an episode of Xfinity Hangouts. And Nyla is the first openly transgender wrestler to sign with a major wrestling promotion, and also became the first trans wrestler to win a major title when she became the AEW Women's Champion. And I just find her story to be so inspiring. And when I asked her to explain why she chose to be so open with the world about who she is, she said, it inspires people. Representation matters. It may not even have anything to do with LGBTQ community. Somebody with fibromyalgia out there might see me doing this and living my life the way I am. She said, you never know where inspiration can come from. It just might be the spark that they need. And she said, being transgender isn't a part of her wrestling character, but it's important that the world knows who I am. So I love Nyla, and I thought it was so interesting listening to her talk about her journey in wrestling, and then to become, and that was before she even became champion. So it was just really amazing moment to see that come full circle for her.
And I love AEW for just doing that, but also most of their characters, because I feel like they're the most open and authentic and honest. They just are very inclusive in the wrestlers that they have on their roster. So big fan. You definitely brought me over to that side, David. So thank you very much. AEW
Nice.
For life.
The Cons have something good going on over there.
Yeah. So you can actually check out my interview with either Josie or Nyla by saying "hang out with David" into your voice remote. And Scott, you've got plenty. You can see Scott's interviews with the drag queen gals, including Gottmik, by saying "hang out with Scott" into your voice remote and browsing his Hangout episodes. And also check out Scott's Transgender Awareness Month collection by saying "trans awareness" into your voice remote. And before we head out for the week, we want to help you organize your TV watch list with Plan Ahead. This week's premieres include The Marriage of an Heiress, an all-new Jigsaw killer, an international heist thriller, and The Mayor of Easttown. I mean, The Mayor of Kingstown. Something like that. Scott is going to give us all the details. Scott?
Buckle up, folks, because we've got a bunch of stellar premieres for you this week. Up first is a new reality series starring an icon and no stranger to the unscripted circuit, my queen. Of course, I'm talking about Paris Hilton. Oh my God, stop. Seriously? I'm dying. Okay, all right. In her show, Boss Babe P is looking to add a new title to her collection, Bride, and she's inviting viewers to join her on her wild journey to the altar. Tune in to find out. Paris in Love lands on Peacock November 11th. Also on November 11th, AMC Plus will premiere a brand new thriller from the producers of one of my personal faves, Killing Eve. Ragdoll follows the murder of 6 people who have been dismembered and sewn into the shape of a grotesque body, hence the title, Ragdoll. Naturally, some gumshoes are put on the case to investigate, but Mr. or Mrs. Killer isn't having any of that nonsense and begins to taunt them like a 16-year-old troll on a Reddit thread. Be sure to check this one out on AMC Plus November 11th. Moving on to November 12th, Netflix drops a new original film headlined by a powerhouse cast. Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot bring the Funder. Yes, you heard me correctly, Funder, in Red Notice. I'm sure you're thinking, Scott, what's a Red Notice? Well, let me sum up the plot for you real quick. A daring heist brings together the FBI's top profiler and 2 rival criminals for a chaotic game of the pro versus the cons. You can check this one out on Netflix starting November 12th. On November 14th, Mayor of Kingstown, not to be confused with Mayor of Easttown, hits Paramount Plus. The series follows the McCluskey family, who are power brokers in Kingstown, Michigan, where the business of incarceration is the only thriving industry. The intense thriller is helmed by none other than the man behind the kooky Avenger, who doesn't really have powers, but does have a lot of pointy arrows, Jeremy Renner. If you're into gritty thrillers, be sure to check this one out. Again, it's November 14th on Paramount Plus. The last and by no means least premiere that I have for you all is the new Showtime series Yellow Jackets. Equal parts survival epic, psychological horror story, and coming-of-age drama, The series chronicles the saga of a team of wildly talented high school girls who become the lone survivors of a plane crash deep in the remote northern wilderness. Yellow Jackets premieres on Showtime November 14th. You don't want to miss this one. It's getting a lot of buzz. See what I did there?
A lot of buzz. Hilarious. Hilarious. This week's finales feature a permanent farewell to Supergirl, the end of a political scandal, a so long to the life of love, and an answer to the age-old question, who knows what we did last summer? Kwam is here to tell us more about it.
Thanks, David. The CW superhero series, Supergirl, will be coming to a close after 6 seasons. Boy, that was a hard alliteration. This show follows Kara Zor-El, aka Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl. The superheroine is Superman's cousin and is one of the last surviving Kryptonians. After spending 24 years in the Phantom Zone, Supergirl crash lands on Earth where she must learn how to use her powers. Also on November 9th is the season finale of Impeachment, American Crime Story. This anthology series follows historical events with each season telling a different story. This season chronicles the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal and is based on the book, A Vast Conspiracy, the real story of the sex scandal that nearly brought down a president. The HBO Max series, Love Life, will be coming to a close on November 11th. Love Life is an anthology series that follows a different person each season from their first romance until their last romance. This romance comedy series will have you on a roller coaster of emotions. Love Life will finale on November 11th on HBO Max. Next up is the Amazon Prime series, I Know What You Did Last Summer. This teen horror series is based on the 1973 novel of the same name. The show follows a group of friends as they are stalked by a killer 1 year after covering up a car accident that left someone dead. I Know What You Did Last Summer will wrap on November 12th on Amazon Prime. Lastly, but certainly not least, BMF will have its season closer on November 14th. This crime drama chronicles the origins of one of America's most notorious crime organizations, the Black Mafia family. Following the stories of two brothers, watch as they rise from the decaying streets of Detroit and build one of the most influential crime families in the country. BMF will come to a close on November 14th on Starz.
So for the record, everyone, Landon was singing Olivia Rodrigo in the break there, so I think that settles the debate. It's Team Olivia Rodrigo.
Called out.
I gotta learn to shut my mouth and just like side segments.
Oh,
this is 2
Scott,
times in a row,
whoa,
y'all
what a
burned me.
burn.
This is bad.
3 of 4. 3 of 4 for OR.
Oh,
Sorry, Drake.
Man.
Well, that will do it for this week's episode. Huge thanks to the 2021 NASCAR Xfinity Series champion Daniel Henrik for joining us live on today's show. And an even bigger thanks to my fellow Xfinity editors Scott, Kwam, and Landon for holding down the fort with me. If you want to check out the TV shows and movies we talked about today, get more of our entertainment recommendations, or watch us interview big celebrities, just say what to watch into your voice remote, or tune in here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern for a new episode. My name is David. Thank you for joining us on What to Watch Live.